Our lifestyle changes mean there have been big changes in the media landscape too. I talked to Helen McRae, the CEO for EMEA at Mindshare and the Managing Director of Global Clients, about the current dynamic media landscape and what that means for media investment. Helen, thanks very much indeed for joining me.
You're welcome, David. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Likewise, likewise. Well, listen, you've been at the eye of the media storm over the course of the last few months. Tell us from your perspective, what real differences and changes have we seen in the media landscape? Let's start with the obvious ones to start off with, and then we get to the really interesting ones, which were the ones that were probably less predicted.
Okay, so I think there's quite the obvious ones, which as people were locked in their houses, what were they going to do? They were going to go online more, and they were going to watch a lot more TV. So over 50% of people said that they were watching significantly more TV and going online during the lockdown period. And we saw that across all different age groups. So we saw a significant amount of viewing time, and in particularly what we saw was actually people, even younger viewers, were watching linear TV or appointment to view. And we know that historically, that the younger you are, that you didn't actually watch. You didn't turn on your TV at 8 p.m. to watch a
I
television
didn't
show.
even
You
think if
streamed it.
I didn't even think if you were that age, you knew what a linear TV was.
No, no, but we actually saw that. I think something it was 30% of Gen Zers said that they were watching more TV, more linear TV than they had before. So it really became, the the way we talk about it was that daytime was the new prime time. So everyone was watching TV, and there was more TV viewing being watched throughout the whole day, which is quite obvious. You'd expect that. Similarly, you saw people using social media much more to communicate to their friends, to talk about what was going on, to read the news. Um, all of those sort of things are pretty much evident. People were buying things more online as well, and I suppose one of the things which was obvious in terms of understanding that people would buy more online, one of the more interesting things we noticed was actually that older people, over 55, although as I'm getting quite close to that age bracket, I don't like to think of that as the older
Sure.
audience. Um, but we found that even in markets like Spain and Italy, which didn't really have an e-commerce market, we found that actually, because everyone was in forced lockdown, that it changed people's behavior. So we found a lot more people buying things online, and e-commerce went through the roof for all age brackets, including a group of people who never previously did buy anything online ever.
And those people who didn't buy anything online, do you think that they will return to being non-users of e-commerce, or once they've reached over that threshold, there's no return?
Well, we're now starting to see we're just coming out of lockdowns in many of these markets now. And while we see the predicted, obviously, TV is going down, and some of the other online activities going down, two things are not going down. One of them is shopping online. I think that once people have gotten over the hurdle of actually understanding how to do it, the ease of use, the convenience has meant that we think people will continue. That will be an ongoing proposition for all age brackets, maybe not to the same degree, but certainly significantly more than it was in the past. And I suppose the other bit, which was surprising to us to see, that social media actually surged as lockdown came out. And we saw in China, in particular, that social media usage went up immediately after the lockdown finished. And I think we've heard all the phrases around revenge spending in the market, but actually this was more about revenge posting. So showing all my friends, look at me, I'm out at a restaurant, or look at me, I'm taking a walk, and people were celebrating life returning to normal and being out. So that surge that we see is still, we can see that already in some of the markets like Italy, where people are posting of themselves in cafes. What remains to be seen is how long that will be, how long that will continue, and will that just be a brief euphoria from a social media standpoint, or whether it will be sustained. But we do think that the e-commerce trend will be a sustained trend.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Well, thank you, David, for giving me the opportunity. I love our conversations.